to go over Near Protocol. As you can see, we have Near Protocol up 5% in the last 24 hours, and we have 16.9% in the last week on Near Protocol, and then 62% in the last 14 days on Near, and 92% in the last month. So that's pretty good, but we're going to go over where I think is going to go next. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice, but let's get straight into it. Big shout out to the members of the channel, and shout out to the member that recommended this video. So if you guys want me to do specific videos on projects specifically for you, go ahead and check out the membership for the channel, only $9.99 per month. But look at this. This is looking good. This is looking good on Near. I made a video recently called Don't Get Trapped. It said Near Protocol is about to hit a major resistance. And the major resistance that I was talking about was that $3 resistance. Now, we didn't exactly get to $3. We almost touched it. It stopped at like $2.97. Literally, you can see the top of that wick right there is at $2. Actually, yeah, $2.98. So it stopped at $2.98, almost got to $3. That was the major resistance there, and now we're seeing the pullback here, and that was because I was showing everyone the this red line right here. This is the 50-day moving average, and you can see how we pulled back and used the 50-day moving average as support. Not only are we using the 50-day moving average as support, we also use the previous resistance as support. So resistance always becomes support, support always becomes resistance. So you can see here these levels were both used as the support, and then we also had the 50-day moving average. Now, we didn't come all the way down to the white line, which is the 200-day moving average, which is at $1.50, but you can see we did touch this one. Now, something that I'm noticing here on the 4-hour chart for Near is that we might have the possibility of a continuation upwards. So this right here, if you look at this, this is building kind of a this is kind of like a bull flag. So we're building a bull flag on the 4-hour chart, which is a bearish signal, because as you guys know, bull flags are bearish signals, bearish trading patterns. I mean, bullish signals, bullish trading patterns. We have a bull flag, not a bear flag. Bear flags are the bearish ones, and then we have the bull flags, which are bullish, and we're actually seeing that this one could break out here. And if you look at the MACD here, you can see all of this selling pressure looks like it's going away. On the MACD, you can see all of that selling pressure. Now, if out of nowhere selling pressure just randomly comes back in and we don't get that buying pressure coming in, then what you would see is the price dumping. But at this point, this looks like the building of bearish divergence. And if you look at bearish divergence, higher highs on the chart, lower highs on the MACD. So you can see here, this looks like we're about to create another lower high on the MACD here, which will then create a higher high on the chart. So if we get something like this, we should get a new higher high, right? And if that happens, we could actually push higher, because look, this higher high was here. And even as the MACD was going down, the price was going up because of that, the divergence. So if you actually pull up the divergence here, and you look at that, we already had some bearish divergence here. So this next buying wave isn't going to be that big. We're not going to get that big of another buying wave, and it actually might not even come in the way that it looks right here. We might see something like this where we go all the way down here and just get a small amount of buying and then more selling. There's a possibility that could happen. And if that happens, again, we would be creating a new high and pushing up here on this bull flag. So I think that we could have a push to $3 and possibly beyond. But the real question is, how far beyond could this push, right? How far beyond could it push? Now, there are a few things that could keep Near Protocol from pushing that far, and I will show you guys those in a second. And the next major resistance for Near would be all the way at $5.30, but I highly doubt that it would just push all the way up there. We would need something really big to push it all the way up there. So I'm not saying that we're going to push all the way up to $5. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think if we push, we might even get back up to $3, possibly a little more, and then dump. Or we might just tap the $3 area and then dump there. It might do like a double bottom, right? Or a double top, because the double tops are also bearish signals. So I feel like we're going to get, another push to the upside, but then I feel like we're going to pull back from there, right? And that's kind of what I get from these signals that we're seeing here. So it does look like we're going to get a little bit of buying pressure right here. But how much buying pressure is that going to be? Is that going to be enough to get past $3? And as we break out here, is it going to be enough to get past $3? And is it going to hold? So those are the two things that we would have to figure out there. And that's just the 4-hour chart, right? And then when you go bigger here, you can see that we have the daily chart overbought. We're in this overbought range on the percent arc trailing exhaustion. But like I said again, it does look like it wants to curve back upwards for more buying pressure. And when you look at the MACD, it does not look like it's done yet. It does look like it has paused just a little bit, but it does look like we're going to get a little bit more buying pressure in on this area here. So I'm expecting some more buying to push it up to like $3. So I'm not trying to do like a really big prediction, like, oh, we're going to go all the way up here. Right now, $3 seems like the reasonable area for it to push to, and possibly a little bit more, but we'll see if we can actually do that. All right, and then we have the weekly chart on Near Protocol. And this is the chart that kind of makes me want to lean a little more to the bullish side while simultaneously leaning to the bearish side. Because if you look at the divergence here, you can kind of see that we've created bullish divergence, right? And this is now the buying pressure of that bullish divergence. If you pull it up over here, you can see bullish divergence, lower lows on the chart, higher lows on the MACD. And when you look at this, we were creating lower lows the whole time. So this is the actual bullishness of the bullish divergence, because most of the time when we're going through bullish divergence, we're just creating lower lows because we're getting lower lows on the chart, and we're still doing the higher lows on the MACD. So as you've seen here, lower lows on the chart, boom, boom, and then it keeps printing out these lower lows, and then boom, it finally breaks out. It's also inside of a falling wedge, which is a bullish pattern. So we were also there, and then when we finally break out of that level, it then puts us inside of this weird range where we push up really high, and then we have a pullback, and then we have a continuation. So you're going to see these pullbacks and these continuations happening a lot because we just now ended our bullish divergence, and now we're having all the buying pressure from that bullish divergence. So we're going to see this increase, but then we're going to see those pullbacks coming in often. And another thing here, I always talk about the percent arc trend exhaustion. When this white line, the short-term trend, goes far, far past the long-term trend, we always get that pullback, always, right? We did it back here as well. There's just always that pullback. And then sometimes you have them like this, where yes, you get the pullback, but then you have that continuation upwards. And that's exactly what I was mentioning before. Because when you look at how it did it back here, it broke out right here, and then it had the pullback. So you can see the drawing here, it broke out, had the pullback, then it had the continuation upwards, and then it continues to break out, has to pull back, continuation upwards, does the bearish double top, and then dumps. So like I was saying here, we might have the pullback like how we're having now, and then from there, push higher, and then possibly doing something like a bearish double top and then dumping from there, right? Like we can bearish double top here and dump, or we could bearish double top all the way up here and dump. But it does look like it's going to create something similar to back here. So pullback followed by continuation upwards. And if we're going to look at it from the weekly charts perspective, let's hypothetically say we pulled back and we came back to our moving averages. That would stop at about $1.90. And then back here is about $1.50. But remember what happened to Zcash. A lot of times these things can be super irrational. As Bitcoin was dumping, Zcash was pumping hard. And Zcash and Near Protocol are kind of in that same era, in that same area, right? And this is a bearish double top. And I keep talking about these because it happens a lot. So I think there's a possibility that we could see like a short squeeze type of thing with Near Protocol, right? Where Near Protocol has some type of short squeeze and just pushes up to that $5. And I think that's like $5.30 up there. Now, I don't want to bet too high on it right now, but right now we're shooting for $3 again. We're at $2.50. And if it breaks past $3, there are some micro levels here that you would want to pay attention to. So let's go ahead and mark those levels on the way up. So these are going to be our micro support, micro resistance levels, and we can just mark these on the way up. So if you look over here, we have some supports here. And I'm pretty much just marking everywhere where we've had significant support, right? We've had significant support here, which is like 359, 360. And then you can also see that we've had significant levels all the way up here as well. So then we can go ahead and mark that. So and those significant levels I would say is right here, a little bit here. You can see it also if I zoom in a little bit more, just so you guys can see where these candlesticks are wicking, and the wick is like the tail of the candlestick. So when I say wick, it's the tail end of the candlestick. You see how it's wicking there. See how we tapped it there. See how we tapped it there. We tapped the wick there. The wick tapped up here as well. So you can see these are levels that we continuously tap on the charts. So this is something where, you know, it's probably going to be worth it to look into. So these are going to be those micro support and resistance areas that we have on the way up. So pretty much these are areas we will stop at. So we could stop here around $3. We could stop here around 360. Let's call it 360. And then we have up here at 453. And then from there we have $5.30. These are the targets pretty much that I have for Near. And I think Near protocol is going to be like Zcash, where it just does not go down with the rest of the market, right? Bitcoin dumps and brings everything down, but it stays up, right? And that's what we're seeing right now. It's because if you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin's below its 50-day moving average and its 200-day moving average. But when you look at Near protocol is above its 50-day moving average and its 200-day, which means it's bullish. And this is how a lot of traders trade when they're swing trading. Like if you're above your moving averages, a lot of traders, they're going to go bullish. So it would make sense that you would be bullish here. So if you're already holding Near protocol, like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. But if you're already holding it, me personally, I would just be staying in and letting it rise, right? And me personally, I'd be looking for like $5, and that is because that's where this resistance is. But that's right before the resistance, which we've seen time and time again. A lot of times we stop right before those levels. So that's why I also have 450 marked here, because that is a significant resistance and support area that you have to watch out for. So yeah, I'd be targeting $5. Over time, I'm not going to say it's going to get to $5 overnight, but give it some time, and Near protocol is pushing up to $5. So that's how I see it there. So predominantly bullish here with Near protocol. But like I said, there could be those pullbacks here. Remember what happened last time. You got to keep all those times inside of your mind when you think about it. We could have a pullback and then a continuation upwards, like how we've seen before. So let it pull back a little bit. You know, we're trading on our bull flag, but again, it can pull back to the bottom of the bull flag again and then go off like from here, or it could just go off from where it's at now. And right now, I really would like it to go off from where it's at now, because that would be a perfect setup. It looks like the buying pressure is coming in. Perfect setup for this to push past it. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get this video out quick before that happens. But let's go over a few other things here. Some other people are looking at it and they're like, yep, it's definitely ready to go. This person says Near looks all set and ready to rally once again. And I would definitely agree with that. And then a lot of people are talking about this historical target or this historical level, and they have a target of $3.25. Pretty similar to what I'm mentioning here. And this person said it, Near does this all the time. It spends a bunch of time consolidating and then it has a massive breakout out of nowhere. So yeah. Now this person is predicting that Near breaks way past the $20 that it did before. I'm not looking that far into the future. I'm just looking towards $5, right? It's at $2.50 right now. I'm just looking at $5. That's 100% in gains. It'd be doubling your money, but I'm not really looking at a huge target like this person. But can it get that high? Yes, but we're still in a bear market. So I would let the short squeeze do what it does and then take your money and run. That's what I do every time. If I see a short squeeze like that, I'm just going to take the money I got and leave. Some people will stick around for the 1000% gains, but I'll take 100% gains all day, right? But yeah, that's just different trading strategies, I guess. But yeah, this is all I got for you guys today. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Hit the like button, subscribe. Remember, you can check and become a member of the channel. It's only $9.99 per month. All you got to do is click the join button, and you can have me go over any project. And shout out to the member that recommended this video. So shout out to you guys. And as always, I'll be back with another video.